Warnings, as they should. And out front now, let's go to the Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Senator Rubio, I appreciate your time. I know you have been getting briefed. You've been getting constant forecasts. How bad do you think this is going to be from what you understand right now?
Yeah, we've been putting up shutters at my home, too. We're right in Miami. So, well, look, I think we have to be prepared for perhaps the most significant storm event, certainly since Andrew, and in many ways could be worse in terms of its trajectory. I mean, this thing is pushing a bunch of water from the south and east. If it strikes the way it's projected to today, and that could change, it's going to have a huge impact, whether it's on the Florida Keys, and they're just listening to that report. I mean, really accurately describe what it's like down there, but also Miami-Dade County, the coastal areas, South Beach, which is world famous, all of those areas there and then inland are vulnerable to that storm surge. Palm Beach County, Broward County, which is where Fort Lauderdale is, and then extending out to the southwest coast as well. And then it leads all the way up to this massive lake that we have in the middle of the state called Lake Okeechobee, which holds a bunch of water, and you also worry about the impact that wind has on pushing that water north, and we have a lot of vulnerable communities just south of that, so there's a lot to worry about with the wind, but there's also a lot to worry about with storm surge in a state that's already very low, and even at its highest point. We have mountains in Florida, obviously, so I'm concerned. You can do things to protect yourself from the wind. It's very difficult to protect from the water. You basically have to evacuate, and we're hoping people are heeding those warnings. It sounds like they have in many parts of the Keys, but there are still a lot of areas that remain that I'm worried about.
And Senator, you mentioned, you're right in the center of this. Your family, you said you're shuttering your windows. I know this is personal. What is your family doing? Are you and they going to ride out the storm? Are you all going to evacuate? Yeah. What decision have you made?
It's an excellent question to ask. We've been having this debate all day long. I'm sure a lot of families have as well. I certainly want to be in a place where I can be helpful after the storm. We also have to be safe, and then my mother's elderly and has some disabilities, and so we've got to make sure she's okay. She's a couple of blocks away. Luckily, I'm not on the coast, and I'm not in a flooding area, so we've kind of, gotten our shutters up in our home and perhaps intend to ride it out there. But you worry. If you look at the map, my house might not be flooded, but basically all the streets around it could be, not just from wind, but not just from the rain, but from canals overflowing nearby. So it's still an open debate, and at this point, it's not clear there's anywhere you could go in Florida to avoid this. I mean, this is a huge storm, so it's going to impact everything from the southwest part of the state to the Everglades into Miami-Dade, up to Broward, Beach County, even into central Florida. I mean, this is a big, ugly, powerful storm, and, a lot of people have already left the southern part of the state. A lot of people, I hope, are heeding the warnings and getting to higher ground and safe shelters away from water as well.
And, Senator, just before you called in, we had a report from Homestead, which, of course, obviously was decimated by Andrew, and we heard from a young woman. She has two young children, 15 months old, 4 months old. She is not evacuating, even though, of course, it's under a mandatory evacuation. And I know you didn't get to hear it. I just wanted to play a quick clip for you of
right.
her rationale, what she said.
My plans is to just stay here, see where it takes us, because since this house stayed here for Andrew, I'm pretty sure it'll hold this hurricane for now.
Senator, what do you tell her? I mean, she's getting to the point where if she changes her mind, she's not going to even be able to get out.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea, and I hope she's watching so she understands why. This is not about inconveniencing anyone. I know that Andrew, she may have ridden that out, but Andrew was a different storm, devastating in its own right. But all these storms are very different, and this storm's coming from the south. It has I don't know if she's near the water areas or the coast, but it has that impact that's very significant. And because of the size of the storm, that's the other point, because of the trajectory and the size of the storm, getting assistance into South Florida is not going to be in the first 6 hours. I mean, if that storm is brewing through the central part of the state, agencies cannot get down here with supplies until the pathway, whether it's down the Turnpike or I-95 or I-75, until those roads are safe to navigate and until the storm is cleared, you can't start moving stuff down here. So she could theoretically find herself days before emergency workers and supplies and food and things can get to her. So I just think she needs to put all that in perspective and understand that it's a very significant threat and a very significant storm because it has a unique aspect to it in that it is big, and the way it is moving, there really is no safe place south of Orlando in Florida right now that I feel comfortable telling people is not going to be impacted. So how do you get emergency crews, how do you get water, food, medicine down until the storm is cleared and the roads are open? That's why I think she really should consider, if she's in an evacuation zone, doing that.
All right. Well, Senator, I appreciate it. I hope she hears you. I hope anyone else who is making that wrong decision hears you as well, takes advantage of these last hours to get out. Thank you again, Senator Rubio. Hope you and your family and your mother are safe. Thank you.